Hey y'all, my name is Amandia and welcome back to Makeshift Gardens. If you're watching this video, this is just a basic, brief garden walkthrough that I do, kind of like a virtual garden journal to help me keep track of what I have going on in my garden month by month. And I also throw in tips and bits of advice on what I am planning and what has worked for me. So come join me on my walkthrough. So my newest addition is what I'm calling the Three Sisters bed. Now the Three Sisters consist of corn, beans, and some sort of squash or gourd. As you can see, I have my corn planted. I have a couple different varieties. I have the blue hoppy, I have gem glass corn, I have popcorn, as well as Indian corn. I also stuck in a couple of different herbs and flowers to help keep pests away and bring in pollinators. Even though corn is wind pollinated, the bush beans and pole beans that I have are not. I don't have those planted just yet, but I think I'm going to do that probably this weekend. We're supposed to get some colder weather tonight and tomorrow. So I'm going to hold off on planting anything until I know that they'll survive. Over here is where I plan to put either some pumpkin or butternut squash. I'm not exactly sure what I will do there yet, because over in what I'm calling my salad bed, a lot of my greens are starting to bolt. Especially my spinach, they're starting to get quite tall and not taste quite as sweet. As you can see, there's one spinach. I probably need to clip it and put it in the compost. I just haven't had the heart to do it yet. So I'm thinking once all these go to bolt, I'll probably stick some pumpkins in here. I'm really wanting to can pumpkin this year, so that'll be fun. My peas have outgrown the little do-it-yourself trellis system, so I've got to come up with something for that to help them climb even higher. And the garlic is doing really well. I'm wondering if it's almost time to pull it up. I don't know. It's my first time growing it, so we'll see. The asparagus and lettuce bed is doing really well. I don't have any more asparagus coming up, and I think that's just because they are getting acclimated still to the soil, so I probably won't have a harvest until next year sometime. But the lettuce is doing really well. And so are the nasturtiums and the strawberry plants. They're getting nice and big. And I think I see, yep, it's my first little bloom on the marigold. Isn't it cute? I had to thin out the lettuce, and that's why they were able to get bigger. If you keep them really close together, you'll have little baby lettuce, which is still good to eat, but they won't get very big. I still have to thin some of these out again, but that's okay. My pollinator garden looks kind of sad because we had a storm last night and a lot of high winds, so everything's blown all over the place, but I'm hoping it'll bounce back. Pretty sure it will. Now my other bed is still kind of growing strong. I'm still harvesting from the Swiss chards. They're growing well. I think the celery is almost ready to be harvested. I don't want huge stalks. I want something smaller for soups and stuff, so I'm thinking of harvesting them while they're still kind of little. Lettuce over here is looking beautiful. I harvested quite a bit off of those last week, and they have just doubled in size very quickly, so that makes me happy. My kohlrabi here, it started to flower, and then I've just been picking off these little flower heads, kind of like you would with basil. And I've noticed they started out kind of small, as you can see with this one, and now this one's actually getting a good size. So maybe I'll be able to eat it, maybe not. I don't know. I've never had it before, so we'll see how that goes. Our apple trees are finally blossoming, and there's quite a bit on there. I'm really hoping that we get at least a couple for an apple pie, or 1 or 2 for my daughter to eat because she loves apples. This tree is doing really well. This one over here, not so much, and I'm not sure why. I'm thinking of feeding it and seeing if that helps. It's always been the smallest one out of all 3 of them, or 4 of my trees, 2 peach, 2 apple. So I figured being close to the garden, it would get the nutrients from the garden, but I don't know, it hasn't. I still don't have my grapes in the ground. I don't think I'm going to put them in the ground this year. I would prefer to put them in the ground when they are dormant so the roots can go out. But look how well the blueberries are doing. There's so many blossoms on there. They're getting huge. I might have little bitty blueberries forming right there. Look at that. The bees are doing their job. They love this blueberry bush. And this one over here is loaded with blossoms too. So I'm gonna have to cover them because last year the birds got all of them. That was not a lot of fun. This is my wisteria. I'm trying to train it into a tree. We'll see how that goes. It's coming along rather nicely though, so who knows. There's my dragon fruit. They're getting bigger, even though I broke a leaf off of one of them. I stuck it in the ground and it seems to be growing a whole nother plant. This here is kiwi. My son loves kiwi, so I decided to experiment with growing it here in South Carolina. So far it's doing well. Potatoes are doing really, really well. I've been covering them with compost every time I can. And the kids' garden boxes have transformed into just lettuce boxes for now. They pulled the carrots and they were pretty excited about getting the carrot, even though most of them were eaten already by the ants, but they enjoyed seeing them still. Now my medicinal garden over here is blooming and doing well. I planted some, I can't pronounce it, echinacea right here. And then I also got some lavender from Set Apart Health. Or no, these are the ones from Lowe's. The one from Set Apart Health are still in the, they're over there on the porch. I haven't planted them yet. I might stick them somewhere else. That poor little sage. It's trying so hard to hang on. But other than that, it's doing really well. I'm pretty excited to harvest these herbs. Alright, now the tomatoes and pepper bed. They look pretty sad because they got pretty wind whipped last night, and I have to cut away some of the stakes because they are growing thicker than they are taller, faster than I thought they would. But that's okay, they're easy to cut away. And then I'm just going to zip tie them up to this trellis fairly loosely, and they'll do well. As you can see here, this one is almost cut in half from the wind, but it'll be alright because I can just stick that half in the ground and it should survive fairly well. And I planted more calendulas, basil. I planted some lettuce in here as I was thinning the other lettuce out. And we'll see how that one goes. The carrots are coming in. I planted them in between the tomatoes and the peppers. All the peppers are doing well except for one. I think the slugs like this King of the North pepper a lot, but As long as if it eats that one, I don't care. I have 2 other ones. This one's getting a little eaten up, but that's okay. I actually have some little flowers coming in on my chili pepper. So they should have peppers soon. The onions in here are doing really well. Also, my purple basil is doing good. I planted a little tomatillo tomato. It's doing good. Now you see all the eggshells? I stuck those in there to deter the slugs. And they're also really good for feeding your soil. So, well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed walking with me through my garden. I hope you enjoyed the tips and advice that I gave you. If so, I would appreciate if you'd give this video a like and hit subscribe for more gardening tips and advice. Have a good one, guys. Bye.